Hi all. So I'm in the UK, and I've discovered my wife 38 has been cheating on me 40 for what I believe to be maybe 2 or 3 months. We have been together for 23 years and married for 11. It was with her driving instructor who was also teaching our eldest daughter to drive, and I was paying for the lessons. He, M41, is also married with 2 small children. I had my suspicions for some time with her change in behavior from hair wash days being scheduled on driving lesson days, the way she dressed for a driving lesson, going over the time on a lesson amongst other examples. I could tell they liked each other. Apparently, they both admitted this to each other, but didn't do anything about it for some time. One such example was staying out later on nights out. So on this particular night, and waited outside the bar she was drinking at and saw them kissing and leave hand in hand. I attacked him from behind and confronted them both. I went home and informed her parents and proceeded to put all her stuff in our porch. I also woke my teenage children to tell them. He phoned his wife that night to tell her that he was leaving her for my wife. They then went to stay a couple of nights in a hotel and then stayed in a very dodgy bed and breakfast. Since then, my anger has waned. I spoke to her on one day alone. The next day, she saw me and the children. We spoke normally, as if nothing had happened, just as if we were a normal family. I had then spoken to her on several occasions. She has now decided to end it with him. I picked her up from her bed and breakfast and took her to her mom's. I stupidly gave her the impression that I would have her back. She is now staying there, which is only over the road from where I live with my children. The children do not want her back in the house, and I must admit I'm not sure we can work through this. She has shown little remorse for what she has done, and the added level of evil deceit behind it leaves me struggling to come to terms with it. During the affair, I was insecure and paranoid, even Googling the supplements I was taking to see if any of them give you paranoia. I was so close to ringing the doctors to seek help, and I was apologizing to her for my behavior when all along she was doing what she was doing. My heart says to try again, but my head says, how? He's a driving instructor that lives locally and will be seen all the time. I just don't know how she will cut him out of her life. Now she's at her mom's, which is small, and they are set in their ways. They will soon put pressure on for her to return here, which at present is not a good idea. I feel like she only gave up on him because of the place they were staying in. They had originally planned to save some money and move out together. I don't think that would ever have happened. I think it was all some fantasy, as when they were caught they were not prepared at all. She has been a completely different person of late, and she has admitted that and made me and my children's lives hell. My eldest daughter went through mental health issues and a serious eating disorder, and now my youngest has the same issues. My wife's reaction to that was, I can't go through this again. I've done it once. I'm not doing it again. This gives some indication as to her mental state of mind. She had become consumed with her own importance and no one else mattered. Now she is at rock bottom mentally but still shows little remorse. I believe she is only sorry she was caught and ended up in the position she is in. She has a lot to prove, and I don't think she has it in her to try. I don't know if to cut my losses and just accept it's over or to try. My parents divorced as my mom cheated on my dad, and it left my family in a right mess to this day. If I try, I'd have to accept living with the insecurities and paranoia I've lived with for the last few months. For some background, our relationship was not perfect, but I had been trying to be more spontaneous over the course of the last few months. We were going out more with friends and together. I feel she had already closed herself off from that. I also suffer with some ED, porn-induced I believe it to be, which has hampered things in the bedroom. She also has issues with my family due to things said and done in the past, which puts pressure on our relationship. I had not spoken to my family in 3 years for her and only recently started talking again. I changed jobs 3 years ago and was traveling, which too put pressure on our relationship. However, since the pandemic hit, I have been working from home. We also moved house 2 years ago into an older house that needed some work and continues to be a work in progress. I think this may also put pressure on her and lead to her being unhappy. She started wanting her own independence, learning to drive, getting a job. She had been a housewife for a majority of our time together. I don't believe this to be a result of the affair. I think it was just purely a change in her thinking. If I think of anything to add, I'll make an edit, but I think that about covers it. Any thoughts would be much appreciated.